Hi, Hitomi.
Hello.
Hi, long time no see.
Long time no see.
So last session I didn't see you, right?
This Monday?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, was it? Yes, Monday. Yes, of course. Yes.
Yes, because Thursday we stopped Thursday individual one until I take the mock test, right?
Yeah. When do you want to take it?
I'm thinking this Sunday.
Okay. Mock test G. Remember, as soon as you did it, let me know, and just close it from the red button. Nothing else. Don't reset it. Anything.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Hello, Alicia. Okay, everyone is to keep coming. Now, okay, before I forget, I'll start sharing. Because sharing is caring. Hi, Pradeepa.
Hello, sir. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Okay. Okay, today, first we're going to start with writing, essay writing, the discussion one, because we didn't have that one. So start with that one. Before I start, do you have any questions? No. All right. Okay, I think almost everyone is here. Oh, here comes Simon. All right. Hello, May.
Hi, sir.
How are you?
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to start with the writing and its problem solution. Let me check if we had this before.
Problem solution essay types.
Okay. So the problem solution one, let's go.
Problem solution is the third type of PTE essay topics. As I mentioned before, we use the same writing template for any topics the PTE test throws at you. So let's get started. We start with the introduction, and you start typing the effect of part of the topic, preferably no verbs, you know that. I'm going to use cultural shock as nouns here. So the effect of cultural shock, which has always been debatable, has now become even more controversial. The long-lasting influence of, again, part of the topic, preferably no verbs. You can repeat the previous nouns, you know that, but I'm going to use fewer cases of immigration, has fueled controversy over the potential impact of this trend on people's lives in recent years. It is thus agreed that, and now you need to have a thesis. So for my thesis, I'm going to say that cultural shock is the main worries leading to fewer cases of immigration as the thesis. So it is thus agreed that thesis, cultural shock is the main worries leading to fewer cases of immigration. This will be proven by analyzing idea 1 in the form of a noun, and I'm going to use education, and idea 2 in the form of a noun, cultural assimilation. Now we start with body 1. At the outset, there are numerous reasons as to why, and now copy paste or just type the thesis, which is cultural shock is the main worries leading to fewer cases of immigration. But the most prominent one stems from idea 1, which is education. For example, now you produce an example consisting of 2 sentences. My brother read some books on the culture of Australia before coming to the country. He also watched a lot of Australian movies to get to know the culture and customs. After analyzing this, it is clear that, and thesis, cultural shock is the main worries leading to fewer cases of immigration because of education. And now body 2. Another key justification for upholding this notion is cultural assimilation. Now produce a simple example consisting of 2 sentences. My sister lives in the United States. She follows the rules and customs of America to become a citizen. Thus, it is clear that, and now, again, thesis, cultural shock is the main worries leading to fewer cases of immigration due to cultural assimilation. That is idea 2. And finally, we type the conclusion. Following the analysis of idea 1, which is education, and idea 2, cultural assimilation, it is clear that, and our thesis, cultural shock is the main worries leading to fewer cases of immigration. Further, it is expected that the government and individuals try their best to further improve the situation in the future. Now, as the saying goes, practice makes perfect. So the more you
Look at analysis here. Look, I didn't check it. Analysis.
practice, the faster you can finish your essay. And of course, the more time you save to review your essay before submitting it in the PTE test. Now you can spend 3 minutes on the next topic to come up with a
Okay. For those of you who just started or didn't have the template, I'm gonna show you the template. You take a photo of it. So remember, for writing anything they throw at you, you use the same template. Okay, so that's the template. Please take a photo. So remember, the red ones you use from the topic that they give you, and the black ones you memorize and just type it in there. So any topic they give you, you use the same template. All right. Any questions?
Just a quick question.
Yes, yes.
So you recommended us to write the template for the summarized written text first, but for the essay, it's better not do it. Like, would you recommend to write whole the sentence, like with the idea and something, the filler of the essay, not like write down all the template first? What I mean?
No, I didn't get your question. You mean you don't want to use, you want part of the, or?
No. I will use the template. I mean, is it, will
to type first the whole template and then use the points? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, just, is it better to write down the essay template first and then fill the?
Yes, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Whichever you feel comfortable. I think,
Okay.
yes, typing it would be better, because I know some students say, when I'm under pressure, I have difficulty remembering the template. So before you start typing it, yes, that's fine. Of course, it is fine. Whatever suits you. So do it at home under 20 minutes. See which one works for you. All right.
Okay.
So, but for me, for instance, if I have memorized, I start the effect of, and then I just put it in. Otherwise, yes, that's fine. Of course.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Ready? Yes. Yes, please.
I just have a question. We need to write any kind of end topic, or we have a specific topic to writing?
They give you a topic, of course. They give you a topic. Based on that, you need to write 200 words, between 200 to 300, all right? So we want you to memorize this template and use this template for anything that they throw at you, any topic they throw at you, okay? Any other questions? No? Okay. Now, so this is the template. Now, I want you to take a look at this. So the topic is space travel is fantastic these days, but there are many issues such as environmental problems, poverty, etc., that we should be focusing on too. What are your views on the allocation of public funds to such projects? Okay, so again, you start with the effect of, let me see if I have done this before or not. No, okay. So you type the effect of, let me just have this. Okay, so the effect of part of the topic, the effect of space travel, which has always been debatable, has now become even more controversial. The long-lasting influence of environmental problems. So you see, you don't need to make sense, okay? You don't have to make sense. So the long-lasting influence of environmental problems, poverty, okay, has fueled controversy over the potential impact of this on people's lives. It is thus agreed that, now your thesis. So what do you think? What's your thesis? So I would say that yes. I agree with the allocation of public funds to such projects. So I would say it is thus agreed that the government should allocate public funds to such projects. All right, or it is thus agreed that space travel is not something good for us. It's up to you, okay? So either you say space travel is good, or you say it's not good, bad, we have to do something else. So this will be proved by analyzing. Now I need two nouns. So as I said before, if you remember good two nouns, just mention those two nouns. If you don't, just say health and wealth. Health and wealth, that's it. Okay, just throw it there, and that's it. So if you remember this, that if you memorize it, Bob's your uncle. It helps you a lot. So let me give you. So this was problem solution. Okay, now I'll give you another one. It's creative. Okay.
And finally, the fourth type of essay, the creative type of essay. So imagine you get the following topic for your PTE essay writing. In the past 100 years, there have been many inventions such as antibiotics, airplanes, and computers. What do you think is the most important invention and why? So we start by typing the introduction. The effect of part of the topic, preferably no verbs. I'm going to use 100 years, which has always been debatable, has now become even more controversial. The long-lasting influence of part of the topic, preferably no verbs. Well, I'm going to write many inventions, such as computers, has fueled controversy over the potential impact of this trend on people's lives in recent years. It is thus agreed that, and now you come up with a thesis. So basically, you need to mention which is the best invention. It is thus agreed that, and now thesis. Now here you need to answer the question in the form of the thesis. So what do you think is the most important invention over the last century? And again, you don't have to make sense. Choose an invention that you have more information about. So I'm going to choose the computer as the most important invention. So my thesis will be, it is thus agreed that computers are the most important invention. This will be proven by analyzing idea 1 in the form of a noun. And I'm going to use speed, and idea 2 in the form of a noun, accuracy. And now I'm going to type body 1. At the outset, there are numerous reasons as to why, and now you type the thesis or copy and paste it. Computers are the most important invention. But the most prominent one stems from idea 1, which was speed. For example, now produce a simple example of 2 sentences. A computer can process 1,000 calculations in a minute. That is why a computer can beat a human in a chess game. After analyzing this, it is clear that thesis, computers are the most important invention because of speed. Now, we start with body 2. Another key justification for upholding this notion is idea 2, which is accuracy. For instance, produce a simple example consisting of 2 sentences. A computer can precisely locate a house anywhere on this planet. The GPS technology is also based on calculation power of computers. Thus, it is clear that, and our thesis, computers are the most important invention due to accuracy. Idea 2. And finally, you type the conclusion. Following the analysis of idea 1, speed, and idea 2, accuracy, it is clear that, thesis, computers are the most important invention. Further, it is expected that the government and individuals try their best to further improve the situation in the future. Now, spend 3 minutes on the next topic and come up with a thesis and 2 ideas. Who do you think is the most influential person in the world?
All right, now I'm gonna so I'll open this in front of you for cheating. And there we are. So I want to start from here and finish here, the first paragraph. So who do you think is the most influential person in the world? I want you to type it, okay? Please, if you can type it, otherwise just write it and then I'll come to you and ask you. If you type it, then send it to my chat here. So the effect of you start doing, you know what to do, okay? You have 3 minutes.
Discussion essay type. The other name for a discussion. And finally, the 4th type of essay, the copy and buy a computer idea 2. Please try. Who do you think
All right, if you're done, please send your first paragraph. Mayuko, did you type it? Did you send it over?
Not yet.
Okay.
What should I write the idea 1 and 2? Just a noun?
Yes, just 2 nouns. It doesn't matter what, okay? But if it is related to the topic, even better.
Okay. Analyzing.
Alicia, are you there? Simon, are you done? So, Mayuko, who do you think is the most influential person in the world? You didn't mention that.
Sorry?
You didn't mention who the most influential person is. So you say it is thus agreed that Barack Obama, for instance, is the most influential person. Okay, it is thus agreed that.
Should I
Yes, if you
know
should
about
mention.
a particular person?
Yes. So it asked you who do you think? Okay. So
But I don't. But that's okay.
Okay, and Willie Smith.
Because I don't know how to spell the name. That's why I
Very
didn't.
simple, very simple. We can choose a Japanese name, someone who's famous in Japan, or okay, just write the name you know.
That's why I chose Michael Jackson.
Yes, so you see, what's his name? Donald Trump, Donald Duck. Okay, whoever you think, whoever you can spell, you don't have to be. Okay, Simon, very good. So, Pradeepa, the effect of an influential person has always been debatable. Which has always been debatable, Pradeepa. So the effect of an influential person, which has always been debatable, has now become even more controversial. The long-lasting influence of the people who most influence has, okay, so you see, don't use a verb, as I said before, remember? Just a noun form. Has fueled controversy over the potential impact of this show on people's lives and very good. It is thus agreed that nowadays film personalities influence people. So just write Willie Smith, okay? It is thus agreed that Willie Smith is the most influential person of violence in the world. Okay. This will be proved by analyzing remaking videos such as TikTok. Okay, so this will be proven by analyzing TikTok videos and filmmakers or filmmaking. That's it, 2 ideas. All right, very good. Who was that? Oh, Pradeepa. Now, Alicia. The effect of influential person, which has always been debated. Analyzing influence of influential person has few concepts. Very good. Just agreed that Isaac Newton is the most influential person in the world. Okay, mentioned in the world, because you have used all the words here in the topic. This will be proven by analyzing scientific studies and inventions, not his invention. Okay, invention. Who was this? Alicia. Alicia, what was Newton's invention? You're chewing gum.
The light bulb.
Newton invented the light bulb, but that's fine. The computer doesn't know. The computer doesn't know. Okay. Newton came up with the gravity. Yes.
Gravity.
Right. It's okay. The computer doesn't know that. Okay. Don't worry.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Isaac Newton is fine. Okay. All right.
And I even use Mickey Mouse as a most influential person.
Of course, yes. The computer doesn't know. Look. The computer might have for this section, because it takes a lot of people as celebrities there, they don't have a particular name. So any name will do. Okay. Any name will do. But if they really want to put, you know, ideas in there, there are some people would say Dalai Lama, okay? And the computer, they haven't put Dalai Lama, they put Donald Duck instead of Donald Trump, you know. So that would, so basically here, any name gets a point.
As long as the spelling is right.
Spelling is right. Okay.
Yes, that would be fine, of course.
Whether he has influential or not.
It doesn't matter now. But I would go with Bill Gates, and the ideas would be Windows and Microsoft, 2 nouns. Okay.
Yeah.
So now the computer, now this strikes a chord with the computer, because the computer knows what a word and
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm joking, no, but you know, these are okay. And the first one was he told me the effect of person, which is also the last influence of the world has feel very good over the potential impact of strain of people's life. She just agreed that Michael Jackson is the most influential. Very good. You corrected it. Influential person as well. This will prove by analyzing health and wealth. There you go. Michael Jackson is very healthy and wealthy at the same time. There you go. If you don't know,
healthy.
just go for health and wealth. Bob's your uncle. All right. And then in the example, you say, well, he was 45, 50, but he looked like 14. And he was wealthy, of course. Okay.
And say like, music he provides can be
very good. Yes. But simple sentences. Simple sentence. Remember, do not flex your grammatical muscles here. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you don't have any question, we'll move on. No questions. Okay. So I'll just keep it in the background. So we'll come back to writing later and summarize it in text again. So for those who don't have time to practice, we will at least provide you with sort of practice here if you haven't. Now, what time is it? Okay, 1. Okay. Now we'll start with listening this today. Okay. In listening, so it is the last section of the PTE test. The first section is summarize spoken text. You might get 1 or 2 test items like this one, summarize spoken text. We'll come back to that later, not today. So the first Now, by the way, for those of you, let me. Okay. Now, so listening, for this section, you are given 10 minutes. You will be given 10 minutes, and that 10 minutes will be more than enough, okay, for you to answer this question. Now, remember, in listening and in reading, you have to learn time management. What does time management mean? Because in speaking, you don't have to worry about your time management. In writing, you don't have to worry about your time management, because you know, summarizing the text, you have 10 minutes. Essay writing, you have 20 minutes. Speaking the same. You don't answer one question, it automatically goes to next, automatically, until speaking is finished. But in listening, it is not like that. In listening, the first part is summarized spoken text. You will be given 10 minutes to finish it. So you are timed, you know, 10 minutes. After that, look, for this section, for this whole section, you will be given a certain time. Now, let's just say you will have 25 minutes. Okay, so just a random. You will 25 to 35-ish minutes to finish this sentence. Now, the most important part of the test is waiting for you here, this one, right from dictation. And the rest are really not heavyweight ones. So the next heavyweight one is fill in the blanks. And the next heavyweight is highlight incorrect words. These are all featherweight. Now, multiple choice, use multiple answer, you do not even touch it. You do not even answer these questions, okay? Now, time management is very important from here, because you have 25 minutes, and at the end of the test, you have right from dictation. Now, imagine if you spend a lot of time on these questions here, okay? Instead of spending, let's say, 10 seconds, you spend 2 minutes. So by the time you come here, select missing word, your time runs out. Your listening, the listening section finishes, and you haven't even touched highlighting correct words and right from dictation. So that is time management, all right, in reading and in listening system. Anyway, I'm going to play you a video about multiple choice, choose multiple answers, and how to do them. Okay, time management.
Time management is the most important tool that can help you get a good score in the PTE test, especially in the reading and the listening modules. Now, I mentioned only listening and reading because in the other two modules, every test item is timed individually and you don't have to worry about your time. What do I mean by that? Imagine that you are doing the read aloud section, and for the sake of example, let's say you fall asleep after you did the first question. So you do not press the next button. What happens after is that it automatically goes on to the next question, and the beep sound interrupts your midday nap.
Huh? What was that?
And you continue the rest of the speaking, which automatically goes to the next section until all test items of the speaking module are played, whether you are ready or not. But in the listening module, after the summarize the spoken text section, which is timed separately, is finished, then your listening section time starts counting down, which is itself a sign for time management. Let's just imagine that, like in the read aloud section, our imaginary sleepyhead candidate falls asleep again.
Japanese and the Chinese too.
Unlike the speaking module, the listening module is not timed for individual test items. You are given a certain amount of time, 20 minutes for example, to do 20 listening test items. Starting from multiple choice, choose multiple answer, and ending with write from dictation. The candidate would continue sleeping until their listening time is over, and he or she is still on the first test item of the listening section, that the listening module is over, and so is the PTE test. So time management is very important, especially when you take the score weights for each test item into consideration. The most important test item, the write from dictation test item, is at the end, and some students are not sleeping, but are certainly wasting their time on worthless test items. In fact, once in a while, I have some new students who come to my class and they say, "Oh, the format of the test has changed recently." And I say, "No, it hasn't. How come?" And they say, "In the new version, there are no write from dictations. Because last time when I did the test, my test finished while I was doing highlight incorrect word test items." There you go. So now you know what has happened to these students who didn't know about time management strategies. They spent so much time on some insignificant questions that they missed almost 50 easy points at the end of the listening module, the write from dictation questions. Multiple choice, choose multiple answer questions in the listening module.
Okay, so now we start with the timed section of the listening. And the first item is multiple choice, choose multiple answers, okay? Any questions up to now? All right. Aisha, do you have a question? No? Okay.
Multiple choice, choose multiple answer in listening is one of the 3 test items throughout the whole PTE test that will give you a negative score if you choose a wrong answer. The other 2 test items that will give you a negative marking are multiple choice, choose multiple answer in reading and highlight incorrect word in the listening module. Now back to the listening module. Multiple choice, choose multiple answer is one of the 4 insignificant test items of the listening module. I have divided these insignificant test items into 2 groups, the square and the circle test items. Multiple choice, choose multiple answer test item is a square, and the other 3 are circle ones. By the way, square and circle here refer to the tick boxes next to the test options. Multiple choice, choose multiple answer strategies. The strategy for multiple choice, choose multiple answer, or the square test items, is very straightforward. You simply avoid answering these questions. As easy as that. You just wait for the audio of the question to be over and then simply press the next button.
Alan, will you help me write this advertisement? Isn't much room in there.
I suppose not.
The next button is inactive while the audio is being played.
We are led to believe that basically.
And if you press it, it would remind you to wait for the end of the audio track. The reason why you do not answer these questions is that, number one, you can get a negative score if you choose the wrong ones. And number two, you will waste precious time on insignificant questions. Even if you want 79 each in every skill, by avoiding these questions, you will only lose 3 points out of 90 for your listening module. So I certainly do suggest that you just skip these questions. Fill in the blanks listening strategies.
All right, any questions? So remember, any question that comes with a square next to it, you do not answer. You skip it. It happens even for your questions in reading. Look at that.
So,
yes.
So it doesn't influence about total marking, like only 3 marks you're saying?
It does, yes, it does. But the point is that you do not get negative marking. Number one, we don't want you to get negative marking. Number two, you're not wasting your precious time on insignificant questions. All right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this strategy has been done by all my students, and still we get students who get 82, 83, 84 for their speaking or the rest of it, even though they do not answer these questions. Okay.
Okay. So we can just skip this and
just skip it.
Move
when
forward.
You see this, yes, when you see this square. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions? No. I forgot your name. Isabella, was it? Or
Yes, Isabel. Isabel.
okay, Isabel. Now, Isabel, any questions? No?
No, all clear.
Okay, good. So now, so we did this one, okay? Now, the next item is fill in the blank listening, okay? So in the listening section, the most important part of the test is, of course, write from dictation. And no wonder that they have this section at the end. Because if you do not answer these questions, 3 or 4, let's just say 4, you're going to lose 45 points. 45 points on this section because you've lost, you missed your, you spent your time on insignificant questions, okay? But that's why I want you to keep these questions. So when you come to write from dictation, you will have at least 5 minutes, okay? Otherwise, 6, 7, 8. I had a student, she had 11 minutes, all right? And still got above 80. So write from dictation is the most important one here in this test, in listening. Number 2 is summarize spoken text. Number 3, fill in the blank listening. Number 4, highlight incorrect words. And the rest are insignificant, but circle and square. Square, you do not touch. Circle, you answer the question. Even if you don't know the answer, choose one and go next. Okay? Now, I'm going to play the fill in the blanks video, and then we'll start with the speaking. Okay.
Fill in the blanks listening strategies. Number 1. Use the 10 seconds preparation time for reading the first line of the paragraph. This will give you an idea of what the whole text is about.
The Navy's new submarine fleet might not be as...
Number 2, practice writing the missing words without taking your eyes off the screen while the audio is being played. If you take your eyes off the screen and look at what you're writing, you will lose the line and some points at the same time. Number 3, since the blanks are not numbered in this test item, you need to note down the answers from left to right or top to bottom, up to you. And if you missed a blank, you just draw a line and move on to the next one.
The ocean has been getting bluer, according to a study published in the journal Nature. But that's not really good news for the planet. It means that the plants that give the ocean its green tint aren't doing well. Scientists say that because the ocean has been getting warmer.
Once the audio is finished and you are typing in the answers, you will know exactly which blank you missed because you have written them in the order of their appearance. If you have a hunch for a missing blank, go for it. There is no negative marking for wrong answers here. But you certainly need to pay attention to your time since the most important questions, right from dictation, are waiting for you at the end of your limited time. So don't waste your time on a missed blank. Number 4, you don't need to start every answer with a capital letter, unless it is, of course, a proper noun like Melbourne. But make sure you do not type all the answers in capital letters or with the caps lock on. Number 5, if the answer to a fill in the blank is a number, write it in digits rather than letters. Number 6, the answer to every fill in the blank question cannot be more than one word. As you may know, this item is the third part of the listening section. And it contributes points to your listening and writing overall score. Candidates usually get 2 to 3 sets of these questions. Now, basically, fill in the blanks listening is a transcription of an audio with some words missing. After listening to the audio and writing the missing words on the erasable notebook, candidates are expected to type those words in the appropriate gaps. Now, some do's first. Number 1, use the 8-second preparation time before the audio is played to skim through the transcript or just read the first 2 lines to get the general idea of the text. Number 2, a useful strategy for doing this part is to have your eyes fixed on the text and jot down the answers on the erasable notebook without ever looking at what you're writing. Number 3, you may not remember the spelling of some words on the spot. In order not to forget that word, and consequently missing the answer to other gaps, you can write that word in your first language and think about the spelling when you are actually typing them in the gaps. Number 4, at the end of the audio, when you start to type in the answers, instead of using the mouse to move the cursor to the next gap, you can use the tab key to jump the cursor from one gap to another, as you can see here. If you want to go back to the previous gap, just press the Shift and the Tab keys. So press Tab to jump forward and Shift plus Tab keys to go back. Number 5. Since the gaps in the text of the fill-in-the-blanks listening are not numbered, you need to note down the answers from top to bottom or left to right so that you know which is which. So if you missed the answer to a gap, just put a dash instead. Number 6. If you missed the answer to a gap, just leave it as it is. Or if you have a hunch based on the context, type it very quickly. Wrong answers do not get you negative points, but they can certainly waste your limited time. And finally, if you are double-minded about whether the answer to a gap should be singular or plural, remember that the plural form is always preferred. Now, some don'ts. Number 1, do not try to type the answers in the gaps as the audio is being played. Number 2, the answer to a gap cannot be more than one word. So if you got 2 words as the answer, based on the context, type only 1 as the answer.
Okay, get ready. I'm going to play one for you and write as many words as you can. Do not take your eyes off the screen. Write without looking at what you're writing. Okay? Are you ready? Quickly read the first line or the first gap.
Well, certainly in modern intellectual life in, say, Britain and the United States, there is the creationists, the people who derive their beliefs about human beings from religion. Then many people influenced by 20th century social science believe in a kind of blank slate, namely that human nature really doesn't have much to it other than a few simple drives like hunger, thirst, and sex. I think it was Ortega y Gasset who said, man has no nature, he only has a history. Perhaps the clearest statement of the doctrine of the blank slate.
Number 1.
Intellectual.
Very good. Good. Number 2. So I just press escape. Sorry.
Derived.
Escape. Was it escape or tab? Sorry, tab. Oh my goodness, tab. Okay, next one. Who?
Derived.
Very good. Where is it?
Derived.
Yes, it's derive. Derive means derivation, means root. So here it means whose beliefs rooted in something else. Okay, so derive. Number 3.
Believe.
I think it was ing, wasn't it? Believing, wasn't it?
I feel. I don't know. Believe.
Believing. Okay, and number 4.
Thirst.
Sorry.
Thirst.
Very good. Very good. Thirst. And the last one. Huh.
Clear.
Huh. No. Anyone else?
Clear.
Was clear.
Perhaps the clear statement of
Yeah.
No.
Queer.
Anyone else? Sorry.
Queer.
Excellent. Very good. Queer. The queerest statement.
Okay.
Very good. Queerest.
queer.
Now,
Queerest. What's that mean?
these are very difficult. These are mine. They are very difficult. In the exam, you won't get these. But students come to me and they say, "I had this in my test. I had this in my test." So I make a question like that. Yes. So intellectual was one example. Let's just check the answer. Yoo-hoo.
Okay, believing.
Well, certainly in modern intellectual life in, say, Britain and the United States, there is the creationists, the people who derive their beliefs about human beings from religion, then many people influenced by 20th century social science believe in a kind of blank slate, namely that human nature really doesn't have much to it other than a few simple drives like hunger, thirst, and sex. I think it was Ortega y Gasset who said, man has no nature, he only has a history. Perhaps the clearest statement of the doctrine of the blank slate.
Okay. Next one.
Yeah.
What number was it? 65. Okay, I noticed a mistake I need to work on. So 65, all right, it's somewhere around here. Okay, next one, please.
Well, certainly
The new plastics exploded commercially after World War II. There was polyethylene, followed soon by polypropylene. And there was even a fad in the United States anyway, right after the war. Somebody had a little bit of money together and they wanted to get into manufacturing. They would go into plastics because they could get into it fairly cheaply, and they thought that it was a gold mine, which it was and it wasn't. One of the examples would be Earl Tupper, who is famous for his Tupperware bowls and refrigerator dishes and drinking glasses and so on, which were sold by women at neighborhood parties. So a whole new marketing scheme devised by a woman called Brownie Wise.
Okay, the first one, Pradeepa.
Fad.
Very good. Yes, how do you spell it? Always be bold. If you get something, just type it. It doesn't, there's no negative marking, all right? It is better, you have still chance if you write fad, than say, no, what does fad mean? Okay, yeah, fad means something that comes and goes very quickly. I'll give you an example. Remember these things in the hands of children, they used to, and it goes, what do we call them? Oh my goodness, my son had a lot of these. I don't know what we call, but there's a ball bearing in the middle and you just turn it around, it goes
Fidgets.
Very good. Yes, fidgets. So it was a fad. It was very popular, and then soon it was gone. You don't have them anymore. They come and go, it's a fad. All right. Number 2.
Manufacturing.
Very good. Got into manufacturing. Number 3, and I press tab. Look.
Thought.
Very good. Think. Thought. It's so dark in here that I cannot find. Okay, thought. Next one, tab. And
refrigerator.
very good. Refrigerate. As the French say, refrigerated. Okay, so it's refrigerated. Yes, very good. And the last one,
Scheme.
excellent. How do you spell scheme?
SCHEM. Scheme.
Very good. Was it all new marketing schemes or scheme? Was it plural or singular?
I write it as singular.
Plural.
Okay, so remember, if you have your doubts, always go for the plural. All right, and the reason is this: that scheme.
Because there are marketing schemes.
No. I mean, why plural is preferred to singular? Because scheme is in the schemes. All right, but schemes is not in the scheme. There's one S missing in the computer eyes. The computer, if it has a scheme, because you have typed the whole word is there, you have an extra S, you get the points for that, the whole point for that. But if it is missing, then you are, instead of having 2, 4, 6, 7 letters, you have 6 letters you are missing. Okay, you might said, looking at it from a computer's eye or computer's point of view. My goodness, I'm horrible with my spelling. So this one is refrigerator dishes, not refrigerated, and this is scheme, not a schemes. Okay, as I said, it's very harsh because there's an extra S, it doesn't recognize it, mine. But I'm sure the test, it would be a different, maybe schemes, no, everything is, I don't know. It doesn't accept plural. Okay. One more.
The brain is both very simple and a very complex system. It's very simple in that the building blocks of the brain are incredibly simple. Those building blocks are cells called neurons, very long, elongated cells, a bit like cables that transmit information in terms of electrical pulses. And all those cells do is simply sense, pay attention to what signals are being sent into them. If the number of signals exceeds some threshold, they start firing as well, sending electrical signals as well. That's all they do.
Very good. Once you're done, you can start typing. Once it is the last one you wrote down, start typing very quickly. So number one.
Complex.
Complex. Number two.
Elongated.
Very good. How do you spell it?
ELONGATED.
Good. Number three. Very good.
Pulses.
Excellent. Number four.
Attention.
And the last one.
Exceeds.
Excellent. Was it exceed or exceeds?
Exceed.
Okay. Always use your grammar. Okay.
Exceeds.
The number. The subject is number. Your subject is number. So it is singular. It should be
exceeds.
Very good. Let's check.
Yeah, I write down exceeds.
Oopsie daisy. What's the problem? Misspelling on my part. Sorry, misspelling.
Yeah,
on
double EDS.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna blame it on darkness here, okay? But you don't believe me, okay? I'm sure you don't believe me. No, I'm not.
I was like, yeah, I was like XE. Maybe I'm wrong.
No. Okay. So now, that's fill in the blanks. Now, remember, in this listening section, the most important part is right from dictation, which is strategically put at the end of the test. And the second most important is summarized spoken text. The third most important is fill in the blanks listening, the one we just did. And the fourth is highlight incorrect words. Okay. And the rest are minute ones. Multiple choice, multiple answers. Here we don't answer, and the rest you answer as soon as possible, but we'll go through them one by one. Now, we go back to speaking now. Today, we're going to cover retail lecture. Okay. So we will cover retail lecture for you in a session. I will play the video and everything, but now we just want to practice, see how much it takes if I play that one for you. Retail lecture.
Retail lecture.
It's 4 minutes. Yes, we'll go over it. Okay.
Retail lecture is the fourth section of the speaking module. Candidates will get 3 to 4 retail lecture questions in their PTE test.
1 or 2, not 3, 4. They reduced.
In this section, you will hear a soundtrack.
In the 19th century, few people
or watch a video.
One of the most important figures in the study of learning, Ivan Pavlov, wasn't concerned with the subject at all.
That could be as long as 2 minutes. Once the track or the video is finished, you will have 10 seconds to prepare a summary of what you just heard. After the 10 seconds are over, you will hear a beep sound, signaling the start of 40 seconds recording of your summary response. Retail lecture strategies. Number 1. Memorize the retail lecture template.
Okay, here is the template. Please take a photo. Okay, so a retail lecture and summarize the spoken text, the first part of the listening. They are sister question. We use the same template. So if you memorize this one, you have killed 2 birds with 1 stone. 2 birds with 1 stone, okay? Did you take a photo? Did you? I didn't hear.
Yes.
Okay, good, good.
Thank you.
All right. So we carry on.
Once you memorize the retail lecture template, you can use it for summarize the spoken text questions of the listening module as well. Number 2. While listening to the track, write down as many words as you can, including names, numbers, expressions and phrases on your booklet. Number 3. When you are taking notes, don't bother with the spelling. Write it in a way so that you can pronounce it correctly. You can even write in your own mother tongue. Number 4. Do not try to make sense here. Just use the words you noted down in a sentence. Number 5. Your grammar does not matter here. Just mention content words clearly.
Joseph Lister was an English surgeon who was the first man to realise the importance of aseptic techniques during surgical procedures. Lister was born in Essex, England, and after obtaining a Bachelor of Arts degree from University College London, he qualified as a doctor in 1852. Lister became assistant surgeon at Edinburgh Royal Infirmary and was later made surgeon at the Glasgow Royal Infirmary in Scotland. The accepted belief at the time was that contact of an open wound with moisture in the air caused infection, so surgical wounds were covered after operating with non-sterile cloths, which increased the risk of infection. Lister refused to accept this theory, and after reading the works of Louis Pasteur, he tried to prevent bacterial infection of surgical wounds by applying pure carbolic acid to surgical dressings, as well as cleaning wounds with the acid during and after surgery. Lister studied the effects of his treatment for 2 years and then published his findings. This led to the adoption of doctors wearing white gowns, which were used to show dirt, and using surgical gauze and carbolic acid to clean wounds after surgery. Lister successfully treated Queen Victoria using his new methods, and he was appointed chairman of clinical surgery at King's College Hospital, London, where he continued his research into antiseptics and clean surgery until he retired in 1893 and died in Kent, England, aged 85.
The topic of the lecture was the English surgeon, Joseph Lister. The speaker talked about aseptic technique, and in 1852 he became a doctor at the Scottish Hospital. The speaker also went on and talked about moisture. He applied Louis Pasteur's technique here, pure carbolic acid cleaning. Finally, the speaker highlighted the following points. White gowns, treating Queen Victoria. He died at the age of 85 in England.
Okay, so now I'm going to play one for you. Everybody please write as many points as you can, and then one person, which I called name, at the end, or when it starts beep, goes with the retail lecture, and then we can do more, of course. Are you ready? Please write down as many words as you can.
There's no denying that the concept of family has certainly changed in American society over the last few decades. Statistics continue to show that fewer Americans are getting married, and those who do so are having fewer children or none at all. More marriages are ending in divorce. More people are living alone, cohabiting with someone, or marrying more than once in a lifetime and creating step-families. Traditional families once dominated every neighborhood. A traditional family consists of a husband and wife, plus their children, whether biological or adopted, if they have any. Today, American society displays greater diversity, and many American households can be considered non-traditional under this definition. Family structures that may be considered non-traditional or alternative include single parenthood, cohabitation, same-sex families, and polygamy. Let's take a brief look at each of these. Single parenthood was fairly common prior to the 20th century due to the more frequent deaths of spouses, but at that time, there was a certain stigma surrounding being a single parent. Today, single parenthood is considered more acceptable. One-parent families may still result from the death of a significant other, but now also come about through circumstances including a parent's choice or divorce. Cohabitation is the sharing of a household by an unmarried couple. This arrangement continues to gain popularity in the U.S., and cohabitating couples and their children made up approximately 15 million households, according to the 2012 U.S. Census.
He told me, please.
The topic of the lecture was family. The speaker talked about last few decades. The speaker also went on and talked about fewer children or none. Finally, the speaker highlighted the following points: cohabitation, neighborhood, biological or adopted household, non-traditional, same-sex family, single parent, 20th century. Today, single parent is more acceptable. Divorce, unmarried couple, 50 million household.
Excellent. Very good. You finished here. That's fine.
Yeah.
If you finished here, that's fine. I like it. Very good. And a lot of content words, okay? You gave a lot of contents, and that's it. Very good. That's what I want. So remember here what is important. Number one, oral fluency. The topic of the lecture was American family or family. The speaker talked about the blah, blah, blah. The speaker also went on and talked about this and that. Finally, the speaker highlighted the following points. Whatever you wrote down and you didn't have an opportunity to make it into a sentence, now you just throw it in, okay? And that's content. Remember, in this test, whenever you type your grammar, your spelling, checked, of course. Whenever you talk, your grammar and your spelling goes out of the window. So the computer cannot mark you on your grammar when you are talking. And the reason being, the computer is typing for you. So imagine the computer is transcribing. The word is transcribing, not typing. The computer is transcribing for you. So imagine if the computer wants to mark you on your spelling. That is not you who's spelling. It's the computer who's typing it for you. It's the computer who's transcribing it for you. So it cannot mark you on your spelling. And neither can it mark you on your grammar, because it is the computer that is transcribing. So commas, full stop, and the computer doesn't do that. The computer doesn't put a full stop for you. That's it. When there's no full stop, the computer cannot judge the grammar. So say I is, it doesn't matter, the computer doesn't know. I is, okay? That's fine. Very good. Next one, are you ready? Everyone? Okay, let's go.
What I'm going to focus on today is really different, larger forms of genetic variation involving essentially gains, losses, and inversions of sequence. So shown here is a fairly, in a simple diagram, we have an example of some structural variation, operationally defined as events greater than a kb in size. So we have pieces of DNA that sometimes become deleted. We have pieces of DNA that sometimes become duplicated on chromosomes, and regions which can be, in fact, inverted or turned around with respect to another orientation. So this very busy map here represents probably about 3 years of work in my lab just to kind of characterize the general pattern of structural variation in 8 human genomes. So shown here are different human chromosomes, 4 from African and 4 from non-African. The distinctions really aren't that important. But what I'm showing you here is the presence of insertions, deletions, and inversions as blue, red, and green. And so each line here represents a different human genome that has been analyzed, looking for structural variation events greater than 5,000 base pairs in size. So a couple of things you can maybe get from this is you can see that there's a lot of genetic variation out there that is above the level of single base pair change. And most of the events that you're seeing here are essentially inherited, but we now know, based on studying roughly about 2,000 human genomes, that there's a significant fraction of very large events, often hundreds of kb in size, that are either individually specific or specific to specific families. So this is kind of changing our view of the dynamic nature of the human genome.
Pradeepa. Chewing gum.
The topic of the lecture was human genes. The speaker talked about largest variation about human genes. The speaker went on and talked about intervention, diagrams, DNA, and structure variation. The speaker also highlighted the following points: general pattern of the human chromosome, African, red, blue, red, green, analyzed 5,000, genetic variations 2,000, and specific.
Very good. Yes, time's up. Excellent. Very good. Now, remember, if it is right up your street, if you are a geneticist, okay, it is right up your street. But still, if it is right up your street, then you should know something about it. But if you completely missed it, and then you know something about genetics, you just start like this. Beep. The topic of the lecture was DNA. The speaker talked about ways of genetics variation that comes down to humans, especially through male and female, and also the colors blue and red here we can see, and all the numbers in the background. So DNA is something people say that we all get it from our parents. You know, just talk about DNA. That would be fine. Don't worry if you didn't get a lot, but you need, what is important here is oral fluency and a few words. You should not get a 100% match in terms of content, okay? 10% is fine. Once it is 10%, you've done 100%. It's like 100%, okay? Very good. Any questions? No, one more. We can do one more. Are you ready? Please write as many as you can. I think, Simon, it's your turn now.
I don't know why that was taught in medical school, but it was considered to be a fat-soluble vitamin and therefore stored in the body, and it would act for a long period of time and it would build up and you get into trouble. But now, in recent years, when we've had the technology to measure fat content of vitamin D, we find there's not much there. And the reason there's not much there is there's not much coming into the diet, or we are avoiding sun. So we have less vitamin D, and therefore our fat tissue does too. It's not stored up there in high concentrations. You don't begin to store vitamin D in fat until you begin to build it up in the serum, and that doesn't occur until you already have relatively high 25-hydroxy-D values. Now, it's at this point you begin to accumulate fat. And if you were out here, you'd probably have a very healthy fat concentration of D, but not very many people are out there. These are studies that were done under controlled circumstances where we could control how much was coming in and what the concentrations were under the circumstances. But the one thing students seem to recall is that fat-soluble vitamins can produce intoxication, therefore you have to be careful.
The topic of the lecture was talk about the vitamin. The speaker talked about consider solid vitamin. The speaker also went on and talked about work for a long time and we will build out and you will trouble with listen here. Finally, the speaker highlighted the following points: vitamin, fat, tissue, and still high concentration.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. But was it? Did they talk about vitamin J, vitamin G, vitamin F,
D,
or vitamin Z? Yes, it's in there. Vitamin D. So remember, you can treat it like a described image. So you can say the speaker talked about vitamin D and the food items that have vitamin D, like fish, egg, soybeans, cheese, and what's that? Butter and milk, and of course the sun. If you go to the sun, so very good. But I want you to pack more. Okay, so you went for, just take a breath and pack more information. Very good. So the topic of the lecture was this. Speaker talked about that. Also, the speaker went about that, and finally, the speaker highlighted the following. Very good. We still have time to do one more. Any questions before I go to the next one? Okay. So, we just did it. Remember, as an example. Okay. I think this rings a bell with me. All right.
More than 3 hours a day. The study was published in the Archives of Disease in Childhood. Researchers studied more than 11,000 British children ages 5 to 7. Parents completed a questionnaire about the strengths and weaknesses of their kids, and they were also asked to report how much time their children spend watching television. Researchers say those who watch more are more likely to steal or fight by age 7. Then again, they say the overall likelihood of that antisocial behavior is pretty low. And a writer for The Atlantic says the risks discovered are not significant. They failed to look at the content of the shows and games occupying their subjects' time. And all things considered, a mother and blogger for Mother Nature Network says the real danger of too much TV is obesity. And on WLNY, anchors pointed out mobile devices seem to make it easier to give kids TV to watch. Interestingly enough, the researchers said they found no link between computer and electronic games and antisocial behavior. And the experts say, bottom line, it's a good rule of thumb to try to limit how much TV young kids watch to less than 2 hours a day.
Mayuko? Unmute yourself, please. Yes.
The topic of the lecture was 3 hours a day. The speaker talked about the disease, 11,000 kids in the United States. The speaker also went on and talked about social behavior. And finally, the speaker highlighted the following points. Too much TV causes obesity, between TV and games, how much TV, less than 2 hours.
Very good. Okay, excellent. So at the beginning, just to start with the topic of the lecture was watching television. Okay, how much time should children spend on watching television? The speaker also went on. If you don't have it, you say, oh, I like watching television. I remember when I was a kid, my full-time job was to watch television. That was my full-time job. Okay, so yeah, very good. Any questions? No? Okay, we can have one more, and I'll tell you who that lucky person is. Ready?
The shuttle was designed to be a space truck. It's a multi-purpose vehicle. We've done a tremendous number of different things with it. It's the most versatile space vehicle that has ever been built. We've used it to launch satellites. We've used it to repair satellites in orbit and put them back into orbit. We've used it to capture satellites and bring them back to Earth for repair. We've outfitted it with the Space Lab built by our European partners and used it before the era of the space station to do scientific research. We used it as part of our partnership with the Russians, which is still continuing, first as part of the Mir space station, where we actually prolonged the useful life of Mir by several years through logistical supply visits with the shuttle. And now, of course, we're using it to build the new International Space Station, which is a huge international partnership.
Alicia, please. Alicia, you're on mute.
Okay.
No, wait for the... Now.
The speaker talked about the space truck. It is a multi-purpose vehicle. It is a very versatile vehicle. Satellite repair. It is used to repair satellite repairs, satellite capture satellites to bring home and to repair and to use part of. It is also used as a partnership with Russian as a logistic visit. It is also an international space station. That's it.
Very good. So, Alicia, the first two sentences should be complete one. The rest, just give content, okay? You can write a lot of content words. Just say, finally, the speaker highlighted the following points, okay? Capturing satellite, sending satellite, repair, bringing back to Earth. These are content, and you just throw them towards the end, okay? The content words. Just make as many as you can, and you don't have to make sense. You were trying to make sense here. I noticed that you wanted to make a sentence that is grammatically okay, but you don't have to do that, all right? Okay. So what you need to do, the first two sentences, you try to be, or to get your oral fluency. The topic of the lecture was space shuttle. The speaker talked about how the space shuttle works. Finally, the speaker, and now it's content time. So just mention as many words as you can to get a good content score. Okay. All right. I think we're running out of time. Do you have any questions?
Is it okay if we use like shuffle the content words? Some words can come forward.
Yes, yes, like, of course. Yes, yes. I know. If you use all the content words from the start, that's fine. The computer doesn't have a preference first and second. Okay, it has all the data stored on its system, and it doesn't have a preference whether it is at the end or you can write it backwards, whatever. Okay, that's fine.
Yes. I was just asking. Yeah.
No, that's fine. Very good. Any other questions? No?
Yes. For me,
please.
I did try to do a mock test in the morning. What happened when I start the questions, read aloud? I went up to 7 questions. When I read aloud, it should like, okay, uploaded successfully. Then the next button didn't show up. So I was like stuck there. And then I tried again. After 4th question, the same thing happened.
Okay.
The next question didn't appear.
Good point. Now, did you do it on a laptop? On your laptop? Okay.
Yes.
Now, the speed of the internet is very important. You should have. I would suggest that you use your phone as a hotspot because phones mobile much faster compared to the home internet. Okay.
Okay.
That's why. So if you are using the home internet, if your neighbor is streaming, then he is getting or she's getting most of the bandwidth and you are left with nothing. All right, basically.
Okay.
So you need to have a full, at least a decent internet speed, and that won't happen. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sure because yes, I've done it on my computer and it did, but when I used my phone, it didn't happen.
Yeah, because I thought maybe I took much time because I spent 30 seconds
And then you press next. Did you finish? Did you go next?
But next didn't appear.
What do you mean?
Yeah, the next button didn't appear.
Okay, look. Okay, this is for everyone. First of all, it's good. Yes, it's all right if you do the mock test. That's fine. Okay, but let's just do only one. Don't do all of them. Okay, I want you to have at least one to.
It's happened to me also.
Yeah.
Like that. My screen is bigger. I don't know how it comes bigger, and I tried to control that, and finally I controlled, and it's worked like.
So look here, it's here. Okay, now I cannot go next because obviously I have to wait for this to bob, and then I can go next. But you're right. If you can control you can do it here. Look, I think at the top there must be somewhere that you can. Control and scroll up or down. Look. So control, scroll up or down, and then here you can also use this in order to zoom in or zoom out. Okay. So now look, you heard the beep. You read it, and then you go next. It says, "Are you crazy?" You say, "Yes, I am," and the next one starts. Sometimes, yes, if it's bigger, then it could go down. So control and scroll down at the same time. Look. All right.
Yeah, but I don't know why the next button didn't appear. I was like, go back.
I'm telling you. Look, if it is bigger, it goes down there. Look. Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
scroll down. Yeah. Everything was on the screen, but not the next button.
Not the next
I was like,
one.
okay. Then I go back, and it was an error happened. I don't know.
So this time, take care of your internet speed. I hope everything will load completely. Okay.
Definitely, I'll do that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Have a good one, everyone. See ya. Bye.
Bye.